I was thinking about throwing what are buyers as a buyer's agent, how I buy, and I mean it's kind of advice for both buyers and sellers.
Yeah, we need to talk about sellers.
Yeah, and the fact that what I'm looking for as a buyer's agent is advice to sellers. Like, hey, there are certain upgrades you should do. I'm not saying completely renovate the house, but there are things you should do to the house, like give it a facial.
Gotcha. So things that a seller needs to do to prep
absolutely.
for a buyer.
Absolutely.
What is that?
Sure. So as a buyer's agent, there's things that I'm looking for. I have a construction background, so there's things I'm looking for when I walk into a house, like the seams, in the wall. I'm looking for the fascia and soffits of the house. I'm looking for the flashings. I'm looking for stucco damage. I'm looking for things that need repair, things that are a good indicator of the bones of the house, and if there's been termite damage, things of that nature, like what's going to have to be negotiated further down the road when we have the physical inspection done. So I kind of do my own inspection and like to say, hey, you're going to expect to have to replace the roof, which is going to be a $20,000+ fix, within the next 5 years.
Okay.
Is a comp shingle, how's the comp shingle look? Is it bare? Are the edges curling? I mean, those are indicators of the roof and the felt underneath, which is, it's a costly fix.
So as the seller of that house, you would say take care of these things first to get the maximum
yeah,
value,
so,
to sell it faster?
Roof you really don't want to touch. I mean, California is an as-is state, but what I would recommend to a seller, and I don't want to say the term lipstick on a pig, but yeah, you kind of want to give it a facial, So curb appeal, that's hugely important. Let's talk about the garage door. You're pulling up. People love a garage. They do, the men especially. That's going to be their storage space. You might have a hobbyist where you're pulling up first thing in the day. How is somebody going to feel pulling up into that neighborhood and most importantly into that house? That's what the first thing they're going to see at the beginning of the day, the last thing they're going to see at the end of the day when they're coming home from work. What are they pulling up to? Do they see a nice garage door? Are they walking up to a nice house door? These things should be, they should be pristine when you have buyers coming to look at the house. Buyers operate on good, bad, or I should say positive, negative, and neutral qualities of the house.
Gotcha.
Right? So me as a buyer's agent, I'm looking for those same things. What's positive, negative, neutral? Let's just say the kitchen countertops, they have been upgraded. They're old subway tiles. That's a negative. That needs to be upgraded. So all of a sudden it's like, hey, these are subway tiles. Nobody likes subway tile anymore, Quartz, granite, or marble, that's your only options. Concrete, stamped concrete is now another option, which is relatively inexpensive, some beautiful finishes. These things should be taken into consideration. Quartz is probably the least inexpensive, but definitely should be upgraded. Let's be honest, who's holding the keys to the pocketbook, right? The missus. And where's she gonna be spending a lot of time, Mr. or Mrs., and not to sound sexist, but hey, everybody likes a nice kitchen, right?
Yeah.
So the kitchen has to be upgraded. At least the countertops at the bare minimum.
Before selling the house.
Absolutely. Wow. Also, the bathrooms. Bathrooms should be upgraded.
So if someone were, like, how much does it cost to make a kitchen?
Depends. It completely depends on the house.
Just a normal 2,500 square foot where we have a nice little kitchen in there, and then you put in new granite countertops from the old school tile.
Again, it depends on the countertop. Are we talking quartz, granite, marble?
Just throw in a granite countertop.
Let's just say anywhere between $2,000 and $5,000, depending on the countertop space.
Just the countertop.
Yes.
Would you do floors and cabinets too?
I wouldn't even worry about the floors or cabinets. Everybody, the first thing they're going to looked at a house this morning. The first thing that the eyes of the missus went to was the countertops, which were subway tile. And
gotcha.
It was an immediate, absolutely not.
Okay.
So
now, is it to get max price off the house, or is it to sell the house faster?
It's both. For
the seller. So if I was a seller, the reason why I would upgrade my
absolutely.
kitchen is because I can get X amount of more dollars for a nicer kitchen, and I can sell it faster.
Right. So it's not a negative, which, like I said, when it comes down to negotiating, getting into the request for repairs, somebody's obviously thinking like, hey, how much money can I get back at this point? Off the offer price. At which point, if all the onesies and twosies, they're adding up. And in their mind, they're thinking, well, we got to replace that subway, tile countertop. Let's request X more, off these little onesies and twosies.
Okay, so really they could go, what would be next? So, okay, we came in, we needed some work to do in the kitchen so we can sell this house faster and for more money.
Yep.
What would, so kitchens and bathrooms sell houses, right?
Yes.
So would you do the bathroom too, or is that usually match the kitchen, or how does that work?
Absolutely. Bathrooms, kitchens, outdoor. Again, what is that curb appeal? A nice fresh coat of paint, and stucco. These are all things that people are the immediately noticeable things that people are looking for. Okay. Should all be, they should all be at least the standard, which is updated. Frankly, just updated.
Okay. Sure. So now, let's say this seller. So hey, I'm a seller and I'm selling my house, but it's like, I'm not a contractor. I don't need to go hire a bunch of people. I'm not looking to hire a bunch of, I'm just looking to sell my house and get out of it. Why am I trying to upgrade all this stuff? I just need out.
Sure. You get what you pay for.
As far
Absolutely,
as,
you get what you pay for. You're going to get offers based on what's in your house. A good agent.
So would you hook me up with someone that could do all of that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So you're like, hey, you're going to sell your house. I'm going to help you find a buyer to sell the house for you.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
These things need to be upgraded.
Yep.
You're going to come in with what? A team of contractors?
Sure.
Or okay.
We actually, as FAM Realty Group, we have somebody for everybody, something for everything. We have contractors, and just to give you an idea, of things that should be done. Most recently, I had a house in Oceanside. We put it on the market for $615. It sold for $670. That's the market right now and how things are moving.
Cool.
We put some paint on it. We actually put a new deck on it. Our contracting team, beautiful deck, but it had some serious termite repair, or needed some serious termite repair. So we just ripped it down, redid the whole thing. We have an amazing team, great prices. It was definitely cost effective. And hey, just a little bit of work, again, went from $615 up to $670. That's huge.
Oh, wow.
That's
Gotcha.
huge.
Just off a new deck. And
Exactly. Interior, let's see. Third owner, the kitchen, there was I guess it's called the grave, or the casket for the lighting. It used to have the track lighting, all right? So they put can lighting in, and where the can lights were put in, the contractor did a very seriously poor job. So you could see all the seams where that can lighting was put in. So we had a contractor come in. They floated the actual ceiling, cleaned up all the seam work, painted it. At the end, it was a great product. Painted some railings inside the house. It was beautiful. It wasn't perfect. A house does not need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be completely renovated, but it needs to be aesthetically appealing.
Gotcha.
At the end of the day, somebody needs to come in, and there needs to be more positives than negatives. Make sense?
Yeah. So who determines these positive and negatives? So if I'm a seller, like I don't know anything about I just came in and bought a house. I'm not a house person. I'm not DIY.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to fix and flip this thing. It's like I'm trying to live in it, and now I'm trying to move on. So I'm fleeing California. How can I get out of this?
Right.
Like that's a huge
popping smoke and getting out.
Huge piece of this market right now is like we're going to Texas, we're going to Arizona,
Boise, wherever.
You know what I mean?
Florida.
So exactly. Yep. Yeah, they don't want to pay all these taxes.
Nope.
They don't want to deal with all this
political turmoil,
all of this. They just they don't want to deal with all this. They just want to get out. So for someone like that, do you guys? How do you cater towards somebody trying to flee?
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Great example. Let's see. Up in Ramona, as a matter of fact, recently it was just a smaller 2-1 house, unlicensed third room. We put it on the market for $399. All we had him do was a coat of paint. That was it.
Gotcha.
That's
interior coat of paint?
Interior and exterior.
Okay.
It was like a $5,000 paint job. Smaller home, like I said. And let's see, it actually sold for $429. I'm sorry, $428. But that is the difference even just a coat of paint can make.
Wow.
Yeah.
So these people were leaving California.
They weren't leaving California. They were just getting out of Ramona. It was actually a divorcee couple. But
Gotcha.
They were getting away from each other, not out of California.
Okay.
They just wanted to get away from each other.
All right, yeah. So what was it originally worth?
We put it on for $399, and it was worth about that in the unfinished state. But again,
you put a $5,000 coat of paint on it and got.
That's it. Made it look beautiful on the outside and inside just from the paint alone. And like I said, a small fix like that can pay dividends.
That's cool.
So let's start with paint. Let's give it that aesthetic appeal, and that's where I would start with any home, man. Is just give it a good fresh coat of paint. Any stucco that needs patch.
So if someone needs an affordable painter or affordable contractor,
I have one of them too. Absolutely.
They just come to you and say, "Hey, man, we need this stuff fixed up so we can fix and list it." Gotcha.
So the team has somebody for every occasion.
Interesting. What other things would go into that besides just like the aesthetics? Is that all the homeowner needs to do? Hey, I'm selling. All I have to do is get this tidy.
Not even aesthetics. Let's take it one step further. So something else I look for is the water heater.
Gotcha.
The air conditioner.
Are they called appliances?
Yeah. Okay. Let's check out the AC unit. All right. How beat up is that thing? How old is it? Does it look like it's going to self-destruct? You know, these are all things that are taken into consideration. Water heater, how old is that thing? Does that look like it's going to burst? HVAC, when's the last time that was serviced? So all these things are taken into consideration. Granted, the team does provide an upgraded warranty with every purchase. We actually, FAM team does pay for that upgraded warranty.
What does that include?
So that covers appliances. It's an upgraded 1-year warranty. So let's say the air conditioner goes out within that first year, the HVAC, the warranty will cover that. But okay, like a car, hey, let's just say that warranty runs out. What happens right after the warranty runs out? Something explodes, right?
Yeah,
That's just a given.
Uh-huh.
You know, so that's something to take into consideration too. Is what has been done appliance-wise, utilities-wise. You know, how does the plumbing look? For an older house, has the plumbing been upgraded? The electrical. You know, these are all things to take into consideration. Shopping downtown, pier and post foundations or raised foundations. Have they been retrofitted for the new earthquake code? These are also things to be taken into consideration.
Gotcha. So as a seller of the house, I have to have this up to a certain standard of the foundation?
You don't have to, but it's definitely it would definitely behoove for anybody who's familiar, like I said, with these codes, things that are going to make the house safer. Yeah, you want to do these things.
Those selling points. Huh?
It's an absolute selling point. Has it been retrofitted? Yes. Hey, that's great. Thank you.
Oh, cool. So if the seller's even thinking about it, if a homeowner isn't even thinking about it, but they start thinking about it,
right?
And they go, hey, we're getting ready to sell our house. There are going to be things that they don't even know what to check or how they need to call somebody up to help fix this stuff. And that's the importance of picking up somebody like you to come in and say, hey, ding, 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 ding. It's like, and that's the importance of using an agent, a seller's agent and a buyer's agent and bringing it together and using a team of people to get maximum profit and sell in the fastest amount of time.
Yep. That's something, as a team we do. So, like Francis and myself take, for instance, Francis has been doing this, I want to say 21 years. So really it's our job to determine what to do in order to get the maximum return on investment, because there is a point of diminishing returns. So you don't want to go above and beyond, and like I said, renovate the entire house.
Okay.
To the point where you're just not going to get that money back out of the sale. So that's something we determine, where is your money best spent. Not everybody, has all the money to just spend and renovate and upgrade. So like I said, we really kind of try to maximize where that money goes.
That's cool.
Makes sense.
Now, put it this way, so if the seller needs to do all these upgrades, I need a new countertop, I need a new AC unit, right? My HVAC's going to shit.
Sure.
Like, now they need to come in and spend 15, 20 grand on fixing this up. Mm-hmm. Where do they get that money? They haven't sold the house yet.
Sure. Well, and that's something we have to work with, is what is their budget? What is their appetite for, fixing? Maybe they can only afford the paint job. Let's start with the paint job.
Okay.
Guess what? There's still a home warranty that is going to cover the rest. It's nice to be able to fix everything, but hey, if it's not in the budget, don't do it.
Okay.
Don't do it. Maybe they can only afford to have the paint job done and the stucco, then just do the paint job and the stucco. Like I said, that last house we just sold, it sold in 3 days. And I'd like to think that by having the deck, a brand new deck installed, which was, that was actually a $3,500 fix. Beautiful job that our team did. Just by having that deck, it was an eyesore. It was actually kind of a safety hazard.
Oh, yikes.
So to be able to have that done and people come in and say, well, that's, not even notice that was ever a problem, and just say, that's a new deck. That was within the budget. Total, it was $7,600 we spent for paint, the deck, and the stucco with the last house. Supposing we couldn't do the stucco, it didn't fall within, the realm of, what we could afford. Mm-hmm. Supposing the kitchen didn't fall within what we could do, we would still done the deck and the paint. Make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
So how far can, you can't buy Dom on a Pepsi budget. So we just do the best we can.
Segueing into seller success. that what we call it?
Sure.
Seller success.
Got a lot of it, man. Let's talk seller success.
All right. Tell me about it.
Seller success. I'll tell you about probably my favorite sale this year, which was a house in Encinitas. It was Hummingbird Hill, Encinitas in February. And it was a challenge. It was a serious challenge. Older couple. They had 2 agents prior to Fam Team come in that didn't sell it. They were unsuccessful at selling it. And there were several factors that led into that. So we did things a lot differently. I mean, the other agents just did, the run-of-the-mill standard sale. They didn't stage it correctly, which is something I'd like to touch on also. Staging is hugely important. So we talked before about, the repairs. There's also staging. So they definitely had dated, let's just say antiquated furnishings in the house. They were world travelers, so they had, world gizmos and gadgets everywhere from all over the world, which are pretty cool, but not when you're trying to sell the house. You want it, again, kind of a blank slate. You want it neutral. So there was no neutrality to the house or any of the rooms. It was very personal. You have to cater to the masses, right? You kind of want, I don't want to say sterile. I mean, you want it warm, but you need to appeal to a wider audience. You're casting as wide a net as humanly possible, right? So a contemporary feel is very nice. This way you're appealing to all audiences. So a very clean, yet homey, contemporary feel is what people really want to see when they go into a house. How can they make it their own? So the other 2 agents prior to us coming in hadn't done that. So again, it was very dated. It was, very, very piecemealed. It was just funky. It was funky. That's the best way to put it. It was a very funky feel when you walked in the house. So, hey, Francis and, the team came in and we completely redid the house. We literally took everything, every last piece of artwork, every gadget from around the world. We replaced a lot of the lighting. We painted a lot of it. As a matter of fact, the owner was a general contractor, fancied himself something of an artist. And he actually made one of his walls akin to one of the Great Pyramids. I wish I had a picture to show you, man. It was actually one of the walls, and it was a 15-foot wall. Actually, it was all bricks, like pyramid bricks that he made out of plaster. So we tore all that down, broke his little heart, but it had to be done. So what the other agents couldn't do previously in a year, we did in 1 week. Just because we took some very basic steps to clean it up, give it that mass appeal. And we sold for above asking. Sold it for, let's say it was on for 1.5, went up to 1.55. So yeah, a little bit of love can go a long ways. So that was probably my favorite sale this year. It takes a little bit of effort, but that little bit of effort is going to pay dividends. And the proof is in the pudding. Like I said, two agents previous to us couldn't do what we did in a week.
Wow. Seller success.
Seller success, man.
That's cool.
Yeah. So
Right
that was a huge win for us.
Cool. So then,
Felt
like in these markets, what's the best time to sell?
Now.
Now.
Don't wait.
Okay.
Don't wait.
Yeah.
It really, especially right now.
As a seller.
As a seller, it's a shark fest right now. And if you have a house and you bought it a couple years ago, San Diego is probably the new Silicon Valley. The movement of life, watching it here over the last several years is very interesting. You've got, the people from Silicon Valley selling high, moving low. Oceanside, aside from, let's say IB, is kind of the last holdouts of beach cities, and it's just trickling and expanding outwards within San Diego. So it's really interesting to watch that. There's a lot of monetary injection that's happening in San Diego right now. We've seen, year over year, actually, on average within San Diego, an increase of 17%. So you're going to make money.
Wow.
A lot of people are worried about the market dipping, dropping, dying. It's not going to. It never does. And even if there is let's just say a 10% drop next year, you're still 7% year over year up. Give it 2 years, hey, you're going to be back up to that 17%. This is San Diego. It's not going anywhere. Number one rule of real estate, you can't create more real estate. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, your people are moving here. People want to be here, and you're going to see that upward trend happening again.
So now
That's just
someone's
the way it is.
so now someone's ready to sell. Like
Absolutely.
let's talk about pricing.
Do it now.
Pricing.
Yep.
Pricing. So if you're doing it now, what are we going
Sure.
to do with it? What's the price?
Sure.
You know.
Pricing is absolutely vital. So the way it was described to me when I first got into the industry, pricing is an invitation to the market. That's all it is. It's an invitation. It's an invitation to say, hey, come look at my house. Come on in.
Yeah, yeah.
Weather's fine, right? If you overprice it, nobody's going to want to look, right? We have what's called, it's the magic month. That's it. After a month, your house is considered what's called market weary, right? Which says, hey, something's wrong with this house. It was overpriced. Nobody wants this house. Why? You know, it leaves buyers guessing. Something's up with this. Maybe we don't want to look at this. So pricing a house correctly is vital. You know, we've got a 99.9% sale rate at Fam Team. We're one of the top 1% in San Diego. So we do it right. And I've heard this before too. You can't underprice a house, and especially now you can't. Again, going back to 615 and working it up to 670. You know, it's incumbent upon us to be, you know, great negotiators. We're working for you. We're going to negotiate it upwards. So if you price it correctly, bring in, you know, cast that wide net again, create FOMO, fear of missing out. It's a powerful driving force for people to come in, take a look, create a buzz. You know, you want as many people looking at it as possible to create, you know, a multiple counteroffer situation and then drive that price up. So that's what we do. Get the price right, cast that wide net, bring as many people in as possible to take a look, get as many offers in as possible, and then just drive it up. So that's, I'm not giving away too many secrets. I mean, but that's what a good agent does. That's our job. I mean, that's, as a fiduciary to the seller, that's our job, is to drive the price up and do it right. So yeah, to answer your question, long or the short, when's the right time to sell? Now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. And then let's talk about these, the disclosures.
Right, disclosures. So something we also did, and thank you so much for reminding me. A lot.
A broad overnet of like, what
Yeah.
is that going?
So disclosures. So something else we did for Hummingbird Hill, and we do for all of our properties, is we get the disclosures done in advance. So we had the inspection done, the home inspection done, and we had the termite done as well. So it provides transparency for the buyer. There's no guessing games. There's no what am I getting into? Where's my money going? They know what they're buying in advance, and they're appreciative of that. You know, what am I going to have to, you know, do in the future? There's none of that. They know exactly what needs to be done. So no surprises, and there's a level of appreciation, I think, that comes with doing that legwork in advance, as opposed to waiting until the house is in escrow and then renegotiating. Make sense?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow. Cool. Working with a local agent?
Yeah.
Is that how we're going to phrase this? The benefits? The benefits of working with
Benefits.
a local agent. Let's go.
Local? Yeah. So, working with local. Let's talk Redfin and, you know, all these discount brokerages now, and working local. There's kind of an ongoing joke. Save 10,000 to lose 20.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I've seen it more times than I care to count, because you've got these discount brokerages that, you know, they're not on commission. They have no skin in the game. They're on a salary. They don't care. They're getting paid one way or the other. They don't care. So yeah, they really, you know, they're not going to put their heart and soul into it, you know, or build that rapport, you know, when it's just a game to them. They don't really care. So yeah, the cliche little meme you see, save 10 to lose 20, it's the absolute truth. Like I said, I've lost listings to Redfin agents before, and then I hate to say it, I get to laugh a little bit when I see the house sell for under what it was actually worth.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Not to sound cruel and insensitive, but it's kind of like, I told you so.
Right.
You know, truth be told, because they don't care about negotiating and playing, you know, playing the cards properly, you know, and just investing their time and energy into it. They don't have to. Local, it's good to know the local market, man. Again, I've seen Orange County agents down here, you know, in North County, and most recently I saw a North County agent selling a condo in Oceanside, and it was way over market value. It was in a great neighborhood, great complex, and it should have sold well over market value, but he overpriced it to start with. And he was absolutely adamant, on selling it for what he thought it was worth, and it sat on the market for a long time, and it drove the price down. Instead of getting rid of it and being able to drive it up, instead of casting that wide net, he started high, and people were like, "Whoa, no." So, having somebody who knows the local market, who's going to do it correctly, and he was only down to see the condo every once in a while, and he could have done a lot better job. And if he was familiar with the market, how things are moving, and how to price it correctly, house would have moved a lot faster. The condo would have moved a lot faster.
Gotcha. Was he taking Orange County? Was he taking Orange County prices and bringing them down here?
Yeah,
Is that what's going on?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's
a different market.
It's a more expensive market.
It's a different market.
Orange County is definitely a more expensive market.
Okay.
So, and again, he doesn't. I didn't feel like he had much skin in the game. Apparently this was a friend favor, and you get. And that's a conversation all in itself, working with friends, hiring friends as agents. And a lot of times friend agents really don't, they really don't have a vested interest. They're like, this is my friend. It's okay. Just take my time. As opposed to, again, putting their all into it, doing the proper negotiations, proper pricing, running comps properly. I didn't really feel like he was in it to win it. Having spoken to him, said, no, I know what the price is. Do you really, though? Otherwise, it wouldn't be at this price. You didn't run the comps, obviously. So it sat, and he had several price reductions. There shouldn't be price reductions in this market. The price should only go up in negotiations.
Oh.
So that's that was that experience. And I've seen it several other times before. People from Orange County up north who aren't familiar with this area, they overprice, and it's not doing service to the seller.